Hellbram loves white chocolate. It says he hates people. Am I like Hellbram? Well, I like white chocolate. I think it's funny when you see condoms, you just think it's moon pies. No, no, they're not for that's not for regular people. Well, regular by my size. No, that's insane. What are you doing hanging things on it? I mean, you might as well. They're like cunts and things. Do they have debaucherous parlors for people who need to be shamed? Well, I don't know if they need to be shamed that way. Could you not have like... What the fuck happened with Chuck E. Cheese? What is going on in this country? Oh dear, oh dear. Fucking hell. I always make examples of whomever. You shouldn't say artard, retard. I'd rather say to it that we otherwise enable people to match a vocation which allows them to heal. Should there be an addendum to an addendum for a thing of the thing? Oh good lord, I don't know how to break up my work like that. Oh, I mean sometimes I do wish you'd do some of the things I say and prosper from them. Like, we're not going to go like crazy Gustav. First off, Gustav is nice, he gets thin, has a proper nutritional plan, gets to eat more than potatoes and like nobles touching him or whatever the hell happened to poor Gustav. Like, well, Hellram, what are you doing? What are you doing, Hellram? Explain yourself, please. Don't forget King's hat. I've had wicked dreams of being made a doll from everyone from people in my biological family to anyone who passes me on the street. I don't know what these curses are for. Oh, so other people won't look into them to give the fray of... Okay, we have like really good computers now, and we can actually do things like say, could we actually handle... Well, would you look good if you're among people who actually were going about really healing the world? You would, and could you have a periphery of that where there's parties about just that? Well, you do have parties anyway, don't you? The ones where you heal people are boring. Well, no, they're just not very good, and they're not new enough yet. And do we have cyber defense forces where people get mad? Yes. What do I think? I'm like a net runner? No. I think I'm like Undead Anduin. And we're going to be okay. It's only a way to think for a period of time before they infect you with something else. Yes, and I do wish that would stop. It's driving me bloody crazy. It's not nice to do that to people. Most people don't care if it's not nice. That's why, honestly, if you look at what I said about, well, the alopecia thing and Will Smith, and what did you say? That Al Sharpton should see to it, or someone like that. In other words, it's a problem within their own crew, which means white people shouldn't appropriate what was happening at the Oscars. However, I do feel that it would have been a good idea to end the show right then and there. Just because of how that propagates violence. And if I don't understand how they do that to everyone all the time, and then scare them with how there'll be some kind of, I don't know, they'll turn anything into a way to harm strangely. That's not worth it. Who's they? Any that would propagate that. So what's a good answer for the Oscars? Or what might have been? No, the police figured it out. They sent everybody home. It's like all or punish it. Oh, you'd ruin our show, you'd do this or that. Well, yeah. So how do you fix that? You don't need time on your own or a certain punishment or an attribute or a ban for this or that. Will Smith is actually a very smart man. So people like Keanu Reeves, they just have to go through these periods where they're saying things like, I don't know, dude, where's my car? Or Ashton Kutcher and this and that. Are some capable actors? Well, they all are. That's what they did. So what's really going to go down there? I thought it'd be much more of a thought experiment to say, well, what if I was banished to Pleasanton? Just to make it really good. Build a city for the future, and I don't want to be thought of as a god, or maybe I do. But in this world, you really could be. But maybe you're just someone who passes by and just goes and fixes things. Why don't you get into politics? It's not so much political. It's more so business. You do enjoy the work that you do. You do hope that things like, we don't always have to have pink-haired, crazy tennis versions of animes. Well, if he's going to want to do that kind of thing, they're going to have to draw out like a lot of crazy hater people. Now there's some crazy artists and then people around them that will wind them up the wrong way. I'm tired of these cycles of evil. You can have games. Not every dungeon master is awful. I always liked calling them games master rather than anything else. Why? Oh, do you know all the rules? You certainly try, but do they change all the time? Hell's bells. And you know what I really like about a lot of Cubicle 7 stuff? Much is left out. It's more fun if you're there together and you read it out and decide at the time. With practice, we could cut through a lot of crap. Right, let's go to page 8. So, read this bit. Right, meanwhile, while you're doing that, if you've already read it, I'm just going to have diatribes about how, obviously, this is written by a human, because it's not... What's the language of Skaven? What's the language of Skaven? And don't already say, well, that's the thing you have to see through at the end of time when you're in the Iron Maiden. Good lord. Skaven tortures. Stop that. Crazy Skaven. We'll civilize you. Well, are there any races that the Skaven were like, well, that's actually quite good? No, it's like, well, what's Clan Eshin do if they get hurt? Well, there are Viera. Maybe I could have Hibiki ears. Would I give pieces out? Please don't chop them off. Is he crazy? Does he think these things could work? You absolutely can have talking animals. You absolutely can fix people who can't talk so well, or are nervous, or are kept in a weird loop in their head. I understand some tortures of form. I don't need to live through them as punishments for things I haven't done. Do I have a criminal mind? Probably. Would I ever do anything like that? I wanted to be a detective. I wanted to be a priest. The first job I really wanted to do was to be a priest, and I was always ashamed. It's like fake Sandy Claus. Yeah. Has he been playing too many games? What was I supposed to do when I was all lonely? Be driven by things on the moors? Strange diseases and odd physiotherapies and other people's vengeances for leaving this behind or forgetting about the rest or doing something or the other? People can't pick up the world. Wasn't the Pope saying that recently? Our atlas is always the best. This is the one for this and the other. What if they did want to award participation? But where would you have excellence? There's a team for that, friend. How many people got a shot at rugby? How many people got left alone because they didn't want to? Me? Was I doing something? Oh, hell yeah. Many options. And the streams aren't anything but a thing. It can become an inferiority complex for some people. It can become a superiority complex for some people. I've had a couple true friends over my life. They felt true. I think Vikram was, the Prabhus. It was really nice. And his sister. I had great food. It was like a recovery. Now they got groomed into a lot of things. I certainly don't want groomed into some kind of strange execution for having travelled through Spain. Oh, is he going to use the JQ thing again? No, I'd rather move forward. I'll tell you one thing that a lot of what I've seen taught me. When I came here, I won't accept these things. No, for the lot of them. You made to accept them, you'll bow down and it. No, you won't. Why don't you have people from Africa who've tamed down warlords come back and tell you the reason to this? It's not one of those slaughter in a trash can of minefields. I see terrible things. They show them to me. Passing locals. Every bag that's shaped like parts is a cage to put something in. People reading sizes of ounces and weights and they just say them to me. Measuring things.